Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a fantasy series that's been called a Scooby-Doo style LGBTQ dark urban fantasy. Yep, you heard that right. We're talking about lesser-known monsters and the indie author who's been making a huge buzz, Rory Michaelson. I mean, come on. If that description doesn't just grab you, I don't know what will. It so perfectly captures this amazing, unique blend of humor and heart and, a little bit of horror that you get in Rory Michelson's hit series. So who is the mind behind this wild world? Let's get to know the author, Rory Michaelson. Okay, so Rory Michaelson is queer, non-binary, and autistic, and they grew up out in the British countryside. And these aren't just, bullet points on a slide. These parts of their identity are absolutely woven into the fabric of their stories. It shapes the characters, the world, everything. And their mission? It's really, really clear. This quote just says it all. It's about writing the kind of stories they always wanted to read but could never find. Adventures that are packed with the LGBTQ+ and neurodiverse characters they wanted to see as a kid. So, let's take a look at how that incredible mission really comes to life inside the Lesser Known Monsters series itself. This series is what you'd call a contemporary urban fantasy. So think our modern world, but with this gritty, magical, and kind of otherworldly version of London. It is absolutely perfect for you if you're a fan of horror or paranormal romance, and you've been looking for authentic LGBTQ+ heroes to be right at the center of the story. The whole thing kicks off with a hero who is, pretty reluctant. Oscar is not your typical chosen one. He's anxious, he's indecisive, and he's really just trying to make it through the day when his entire world just gets flipped upside down. And when we say anxious hero, we mean it. Oscar is not a hero in that traditional sense at all. He's deeply insecure, he's awkward, and honestly, a lot of the story's charm and tension comes from watching him just stumble from one dangerous situation to the next, totally and completely out of his depth. But thankfully, he is not alone. He's part of this found family, which starts with Zara. She is the brave, stubborn anchor of this little group. She's often the one who's pushing them forward when Oscar is, hesitating. And then, rounding out the trio, you've got Marcus. He's the hyperactive and paranoid friend who, and I love this, according to one reviewer, just randomly drops Mean Girls quotes into conversation. His chaotic energy is just the perfect balance to Oscar's anxiety and Zara's stubbornness. This team right here, they're the core that drives the whole adventure. But look, this series is about so much more than just fighting monsters. What makes it really, truly stand out is how it handles representation. The whole story is built on these really powerful themes of found family, and it puts queer and neurodiverse characters right at the center, not as sidekicks, but as the heroes of their own damn stories. And this quote, this right here gets to the heart of what makes this series feel so refreshing. A reviewer put it perfectly. The world is full of literal monsters, but it's not full of the prejudice we see in our own world. The characters' identities are just a fact of who they are. It's not some conflict they have to overcome. And, when you have an approach that's this fresh, people are going to take notice. The series has gotten some major critical and commercial success. So let's put this in perspective. For an independent, self-published series, selling over 10,000 copies is a massive achievement. That success is what catapulted it onto the Amazon bestsellers list for LGBT fantasy, which just proves there's a huge audience out there hungry for these kinds of stories. And it wasn't just sales. It started racking up a ton of awards, too. It was even a finalist for the prestigious Book Bloggers Novel of the Year award, which is a really big deal in the indie publishing world. It's not just critics either. Fellow authors have been praising it. Adam Sass called it sparkling, innovative, and most importantly, fun. Okay, before we go any further, there is one super important thing we need to clear up. It's a common point of confusion, and we want to make sure you get the right book. So, listen up. There are two really popular works out there with very, very similar titles. Rory Michaelson wrote the Lesser Known Monsters urban fantasy series that we've been talking about. Kim Fu wrote Lesser Known Monsters of the 21st Century, which is a highly acclaimed collection of speculative short stories. Both are fantastic for the record, but they are very, very different projects. All right, so now that we've cleared that up, the big question is, how do you know if Rory Michelson's series should be the next thing on your reading list? Let's just break it down. If you love urban fantasy, if you're a sucker for stories about a found family, and especially if you are looking for heroes you just don't get to see very often in this genre, then yeah, this series is absolutely for you. So, you ready to jump in? Here's the reading order for the main trilogy. Oh, and there's also a cool companion book of short stories called The Little Book of Lesser Known Monsters. And we'll just end with this thought. Rory Michelson's work really shows the power of writing the stories that you needed to see in the world. And it kind of leaves us asking, what other incredible tales are still out there just waiting to be told, simply because the right people haven't been given the pen yet?